What are your thoughts about the social media and particularly
Yeah.
porn for boys at the minute?
If I'm a 13-year-old boy and I open TikTok or I open Instagram and I see a young girl of 17, 18 in knickers and bra who's winking at me, I'm drawn in. My testosterone's spiking. Instagram realised that. Every time I open my phone, there's just women everywhere and I'm drawn in and I'm drawn in and I'm drawn.
We're going to see the collapse of masculinity if we're not careful.
It's so much worse than when I was a teenager. What chance have these young lads got these days?
They don't.
I grew up in a rugby town, dominated by sport and everything that comes with sport and the kudos, but also the dark side of teenage sports, you know, objectification of women. My mum used to always say to me, never settle down with a woman, love them and leave them. From my own mother.
Wow.
Yeah. So what did I perceive that as? Them and chuck them.
Yeah. Would you say that men build muscle for other men to see or to attract women primarily?
So I think a lot of men do it because they think it's what women like.
Right.
But unconsciously, a lot of men also do it because they're so insecure. Ella, you know, I'm connected, I'm penetrative. When you just said that, God, it makes me feel angry.
Okay, good to see you today then.
Good to see you too.
You've just been back from Peru. We'll explain why you've been there, but you were actually going to live there permanently.
Yeah.
But you decided to come home.
I did.
However, when you were there, you just said earlier that you had this amazing view. You were doing your daily yoga. There was loads of coffee shops, lots of interesting conversation, and yet you were drawn back.
Yeah.
You were drawn back home. So for those that don't know you, Craig, you've worked with rugby pretty much your whole life, but you also do a lot of work with men now.
Yeah.
Is it only men?
Well, I have worked with women.
Yeah.
But I just tend to attract men. It probably comes through my messaging as well. I advertise as a men's leadership coach.
Yeah.
And my brand is Craig White Men Touring.
Yeah. So you're obviously going to get the guys.
So I do feel on the horizon there'll be work with mixed groups.
Yeah, I think that's
good. But
good.
for now, the place where I'm talented and I can establish safety, and from safety comes magic and transformation, is with men.
Yes. And we're talking about, like you said, leadership, but a lot of CEOs, but also you had Men Without Masks for a while, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where you were taking all sorts of men from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
What was the premise of that?
So I went on a yoga retreat about 16 years ago, and it turned my life upside down in a really, really good way. And it opened me up to stillness, and it opened me up to expansion. It opened me up to amazing and difficult feelings that had been in my body my whole life. I just didn't realize they were there.
Yeah.
And after that yoga retreat, I had to go back to my job. I was working for the Welsh rugby team. I was like head of performance for the Welsh rugby team, and I'd been on a yoga retreat. I went home, I sat in my chair with my staff, and I thought, you know, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, so I had a midlife crisis. Best thing that ever happened to me. But at the time, it was rough. I was crying every night with my wife at the time. She didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell anybody. And I just had to go on this journey of self-discovery. And we moved to Thailand. I left Wales about 15 years ago. We went living in Thailand, studying yoga, became yoga teachers, meditation teachers. And through that yoga school in Thailand, I was exposed to men's work. And I thought, what are you talking about? What, men's work? And I remember sat in a circle with a group of men within the yoga school. And we were studying the book by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette, King, Warrior, Lover, Magician, and feeling into these archetypes and listening to men being vulnerable with each other. It was a game changer for me. And it took me on a journey of self-discovery on a deeper level. I did more men's retreats. I did some work with David Deida in America. I did some work with an organization called the Mind Calm Project. And I thought to myself, because I'm competitive, I thought I can do better than that. And I can bring my yogic and my meditation and my somatic background into this kind of men's workspace. And I created Men Without Masks, which was probably about 10 years ago. And it was actually at a time, I don't know if you realize in your career, you know, we tend to attract on the outside as a reflection of what's going on for us in the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And at the time, I felt like a man who was in the process of taking his mask off
Yeah.
and revealing what was truly within him
Mm.
and reclaiming all the repressed expression of manhood that he couldn't show growing up. It was
Yeah.
like a reclamation, a journey of reclamation.
Not so easy to do, though.
Not so easy to do. So I created Men Without Masks, but then I got to a stage in my life about 7 years later, and I just thought, I felt more integrated than ever.
Mm.
And I thought, it's not about taking your mask off anymore for me. It's about leadership. It's about stepping up as a leader. And also, I wanted to get to more men. So I ditched Men Without Masks and I put all my work under my personal brand, and it's framed under leadership. Because what I realized, and it's not a generalization, it's probably a reflection of what other men see in me, is it was hard for men to say, right, I need to sort my shit out. I've got a mental health problem. I'm violent. I'm an addict. I'm depressed. I need to really open up about that. It's sometimes too hard for men to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier, in my experience, for men to say, hey, I'll come on your retreat, Craig, because I do need to be a better dad. I do need to be more present with my kids. I do need to work less. I do need to take care of my sleep. I do need to be a better boss. I need to end those triggers with my mom before she dies. I do need to be a better son. So all those aspects of leadership, for me, the men that I attract resonate with.
Yeah.
And they bring gusto and they bring determination to be a better leader.
Mm.
So it was one of the best things I've ever done, actually, to ditch that and bring things under a more professional brand, really,
Yeah.
an approach to leadership.
Well, it just opens up more doors, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That's essentially what you're saying. It stops it being quite so scary,
for sure.
because it is scary.
It's scary.
You talked about integration there, and we're integrating the parts that we're ashamed of, and we're integrating the parts that we're proud of, and we're bringing everything into alignment.
Yeah.
But the bits that you're scared of, or the bits that you're ashamed of, are the bits that you don't want anyone else to see. So the
Yeah.
idea of being with other men, if you were to do a whole retreat with men, and bringing those parts forward when you don't think anybody else, sometimes you don't think anybody else is carrying that
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah.
Would you say that shame is one of the biggest
Yeah.
things that you see?
100%.
Yeah.
People think men are angry and men are violent through anger.
Yeah.
But in my experience, the anger covers up grief and it
Yeah.
covers up shame.
Yeah.
I mean, if I think about my life growing up as a kid, there was not only my mother, but my father as well, and what I saw on TV and even in school. And but there's so many times during those, and you'll know this more than most, there's so many times during those first 7 years where I downloaded that I was bad.
Yeah.
You know, I must have done something wrong. I can't blame my mum and dad yet because I don't have a discursive decision-making mind to do that. My mum and dad are my king and queen, and everything that they seem disappointed in, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And that applies, I think, to a lot of men as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a client at the moment who had an incredible breakthrough on my retreat in Peru recently. Incredible breakthrough. But he believed all his life that his mum had beaten him up and his mum had hit him and his mum had shamed him. And then in a sweat lodge, actually, he declared that he'd forgiven his mother and he cried his eyes out, and he's doing the work now to forgive his mother. But he's not there yet because ultimately he needs to forgive himself.
Yeah.
Because even though he's projecting that his mother did this and his mother did that, underneath all of that is a really deep core belief that I'm bad.
Yeah.
I was bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm shameful. I'm bad.
And that's mapped cellularly, isn't it? It's not, you talked about the somatics earlier, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you can't just get that gone by talking about something.
No.
You have to, and this is what I'd like to ask about the yoga. So I know something about yoga, but I'm not a massive participant and I haven't studied it. So I think this is, and yoga is often misunderstood, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's seen as, I mean, you mentioned it off camera, detoxing, juicing. And of course you can do that, but you went, your journey was deep.
Yeah.
And I'm quite interested in how, because you said you got rid of some darkness there, or
Yeah,
started to open up to the
yeah,
darkness at
yeah.
least. And I'd imagine that was quite a complex process that you'd never be able to have the time to explain today. But talk to me about your understanding of those somatic shifts and what we're holding on a very unconscious cellular level.
Yeah, I mean, just coming back to your question about yoga, my definition of yoga now is very different to what it was 15 years ago.
Yeah, I
Not
bet.
15 years ago, when I'm learning the purity of yoga and the system of yoga, um, it was back then, it was really, whether it was a posture or whether it was a flowing movement or whether it was a pranayama, which is a breathing exercise, or whether it was some kind of yogic meditation. Really, yoga in its purest form is just a way to recapture your attention and bring it back into your body.
Mm.
You just capture your attention, bring it back, bring it back. Um, and that,
Nice explanation, by the way.
and now, because I know that, and I can bring that intention into every single somatic thing that I do. So if
Yeah.
I'm running and I've got the intention to capture my attention and keep
Yes.
bringing it back, it's yoga. If
Yes.
I'm making love and I capture my attention and be with what I'm feeling in my body, it's yoga. It's the
Yes.
same with shaking. It's the same with dancing. It's the
Yeah.
same with going to the gym and doing a bench press.
Mm.
So understanding that having a sacred intention is everything
Mm.
was a game changer for me, because
Mm.
people said to me, "Do you do yoga?" Well, yeah, my life's yoga, but I might only do one yoga class a week in
Yeah.
Manchester, but I'm doing some kind of yogic practice every single day where I'm bringing my attention back into my body,
Yeah.
which is critical for humanity, but it's really, really critical for men, because we've been taught not to feel, and we've been taught to dissociate from our feelings, and we've been taught that men don't cry and good boys shouldn't get angry, and we've been taught to live a life of logic. Um, but the reality is, especially when we look at our leaders in the world, if a man can't feel his emotions, he's more likely to manipulate, he's more likely to lie, he can't be compassionate, he doesn't stand the pain of other people, and he's more likely to abuse and conquer and divide. So,
But it's escapism, isn't it?
yeah, men have to learn how to feel, otherwise, nothing's going to change,
Yeah.
because they don't know the consequences on another human being if they can't feel it
No,
themselves.
no, no, you're absolutely right.
And
And
there's so much in our work around emotional intelligence.
yeah,
You can't read about emotional intelligence in a book
no, you can't.
or listen to a podcast
No.
or go to a workshop and listen to lectures.
Mm.
If I don't process and have an intimate relationship with my own sadness, and I'm in a relationship with you,
Mm.
you'll trigger the life out of me whenever you get teary.
Yes.
If I don't have an intimate, grounded connection with my anger and know how to communicate that, I'll just shame my friends for getting angry or my colleagues. And
Yeah.
so for me, emotional intelligence is feeling every single emotion within your own body. And then the world looks different,
It does look very different.
you know?
Yeah. When you untangle all that pain, and it is an untangling,
Yeah.
isn't it? To
Yeah,
reintegrate parts, and you suddenly realize nothing's personal.
for sure.
Because I think that's maybe where men struggle. You mentioned that crying thing, and the amount of men that I've spoken to in clinic that are angry that their wife cries
Mm,
because they've taken it personally on some level,
yeah.
even if they've not computed that. It's
Yeah,
an autonomic response, isn't it?
for sure.
The anger rises up to protect them from dealing with the fact that they're bad,
Yeah.
because they've obviously unconsciously assumed that they're bad. That's why she's crying. And instead of dealing with that, they've made her, well, I don't want to say made her because you can't feel anything
Mm,
that's not already
mm,
there, but they've
mm.
um, shamed her for crying
Yeah.
and walked away.
Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes women do cry too much. It does
Mm,
become a tool and a
yeah.
tactic. But equally, if the man isn't grounded in himself, he can't see that,
Yeah.
because even the tactic has a message.
For sure.
And if you love someone, you'll see beyond the tactic and what's really there. But you can't do that if you can't have that intimacy with your own pain, like you
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. And if a man can't ground himself in his own verticality, he can't hold a woman's sadness. He can't
No,
hold a woman's emotions.
no. And some men don't think they should.
Yeah.
Some men just don't see
Mm,
that they'll say that they're old school, and that's not really what men do.
mm.
So what do you say to men
I think
like?
it's Oh yeah, what do I say to men like that? Wow.
Yeah, because that is often I'm old school. I don't do that.
Yeah. Well, that type of man wouldn't probably come looking for change.
No,
He probably wouldn't seek me out.
no,
Um, but if I had to say one thing, I would.
difficult
It's really
because it's a
difficult,
barrier, isn't it?
especially if his kids are growing up and he knows he's made mistakes, but he's not going to admit those mistakes. It's difficult. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what I would say to that man.
I've often just tried to show curiosity in those moments. What
Mm,
does that mean?
mm,
What does that mean to be old
mm,
school to you?
yeah,
When men were men, it's that sort of thing.
yeah,
Okay, well, what does that mean?
yeah,
And it's try to find out what that means to them. I think it's about safety actually,
yeah.
because they perceive the old school men to be of a stronger type
Of
of
course,
man.
of course.
So they're trying to find safety in themselves.
Do you know what, Ella? Though I can only pay reference to my own world. We live in this world, but really, all we can control is our own mini
Yeah.
world, right?
Well, to a point.
And
Yeah.
when I look at the world I'm living in and the world I'm trying to influence, and I'm not denying suffering in the world, but I'm not at all. But when I look at the clients I work with, the people I work with, the retreats I do, the colleagues who help me work with clients as well, I'm just amazed at how men in my sphere are showing up
Mm,
and diving in,
mm,
and why. And often it's around husbandry and fatherhood.
yes.
That they really, really want to step up.
I think that's where it starts when you start to see yourself through another eye, whether it's your child or your wife, or it's where you're having those intimate relationships and feeling something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's, I suppose, men that don't have kids and wives that are less likely to want
Hmm.
that change.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I'm also the greatest thing about my work is whether it's on a retreat, and I just gave you an example of the guy that is 65 and finally forgive his mother.
Wow.
In my one-on-ones, he couldn't go there, but
Mm,
somehow he felt safe enough and appreciated by the men and blessed by the men that he realized it was all about forgiveness. But what lights me up more than anything is whether I do a retreat with someone or they come on an intensive 3-day program with me on a one-on-one, and we go through the conflict of him and his brother and how he fucking hates his brother on day one, and then on day 3 he calls me on the way home and he's in the car and he says, "I've just rung my brother," and he starts crying. "I'm meeting him next week,"
mm,
and in 3 days, the hatred's gone
mm.
because he's felt the consequence of not having a relationship with his brother. He's come away from the story in his head. He's reflected on his past. He's reflected how much he would regret not rebuilding a relationship with his brother if his brother died. And
Mm.
that's what lights me up, really.
Well, it's
Restoring
magical.
relational balance.
And that restoring relational balance, that's a lovely term, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because the key there is restoring, isn't it? It's already there.
for sure.
Because people think they've lost something of themselves, don't they? And I always say to people, you've never lost something. It's always there.
Yeah,
You just don't know how to find it.
yeah,
When you're working with men, and this is from a female perspective, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
why do men need other men so much, do you think? You mentioned there on the retreat that it's feeling loved and blessed by the men. Why do you think men need that?
Well, we've all downloaded, whether we call it karma, whether we call it ancestral trauma, or whatever we call it, we've all downloaded what it means to be a nice boy, what it means to be a nice girl. Um, Men wear blue, women wear pink, and all the conditions around that. And men do that, and women do that, and women dance, men don't dance. So all men download what it is to be a man, and for some reason, it comes through our parents as well.
Mm.
We have a boy. Our parents have a boy and a girl, but they treat the boy very different to the way they treat the
Yeah.
girl, and so I think because of those childhood ancestral conditioning patterns that come through men and women, that men have a great tendency to understand other men.
Mm.
They just do.
Mm.
The demons in our head, how we were given false information around our relationship to women. Um, it does affect women for sure. I know that, but it's a catastrophe for a man to be abused by his father, or a man to have an absent father, or a man to not be seen by his father in teenage years. Many men have been. Many men I work with have been influenced by a patriarchal mother.
Yeah.
Who was trying to be mum and dad because dad wasn't around.
Yes.
So we just understand each other when we can get to the root of our challenges, and we can look into each other's eyes. You know, on my retreat, it's probably 75% somatic. When I started off, it was sat around in circles talking.
Yes.
But guys kept bringing the same stuff, looping.
Yeah.
So now my retreats are like 75% physical and 25% verbalizing the experience of that.
Yes.
So even when a man just stands in front of another man and I say, right, I want you to see the young 7-year-old in this man, or I want you to see the confused teenager in this man that you're looking at, or I want you to look into this man's eyes and reflect his past and everything he's been through and what he's bringing to this moment, the suffering, the neglect. Or I want you to hold this man accountable because you love him, but I want you to be fierce with him. It just brings up so much stuff, and there's a reverence from man to man. And then connection happens, and then vulnerability starts to happen, and then magic happens, and then all of a sudden men are, especially when they come to Peru for 10 days, men are expressing aspects of themselves that have not expressed for years. The child, the darkness, the anger, the shame, the sadness, the laughter, the goofiness, singing, dancing, becoming kids again in a man's body. It's just incredible.
Freedom.
That's transformation for me, because the opposite of depression is expression.
Yeah.
So when I see guys coming on day one and not sharing or telling or running a story that they're like this and they're not like that, and then just seeing them debunk that at the end and
must be amazing.
Expressing all parts of themselves, it's just incredible.
I bet. Yeah.
And then what happens afterwards? So I don't run isolated retreats anymore. I used to, but what I decided about a year and a half ago is that I don't want to open men up on a retreat and send them home.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's kind to do that.
No, I agree.
If you'd have saw the work that we did in Peru, I couldn't have sent those men home.
No.
So what I do now is a 7-month program called Iconic, and there's 2.5 months online where we prep. And then we go to Peru for 10 days and we do our work, and then we go hiking in Machu Picchu. And then we have, which we're just coming into now, we've got our first session on Wednesday. We've got 4 months integration online every Wednesday.
Nice.
And I'm really proud of that,
Yeah.
7-month program. I'll never, unless I've got a container where I can put men into after a retreat, which I'm working on. I will run isolated retreats again, but I like to take men on a journey.
I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because I that's not necessarily in your case, but there's a lot of people that have done very short certification, courses.
Yeah.
That don't actually know how to carry the person through that journey.
And as a counsellor, you must get frustrated with that.
I do.
Because of the way you've been trained.
Yeah,
even the world of breathwork. I know some incredible breathwork practitioners.
Me too, yeah.
But there's a lot of people opening up Pandora's box in a 2-hour breathwork session, and then they got to go home.
Yeah, to me, it's just dangerous.
Isn't it?
It is. And I think you can only do that if you're doing a journey with someone afterwards.
Yeah.
And even I would agree that, I don't work in the traditional sense of counselling. I don't do a session every week and let's talk about your problems, go away, come back. I see the value of that to a point for some people, but the work that I do is a lot of somatics as well, a lot of brain-based somatic stuff, and teaching people how to breathe. By the way, we all know how to breathe, so I'm not doing anything too technical there.
Of course.
But it's just reminding people to breathe, because a lot of people in trauma hold their breath and shut down, go into dorsal vagal of just playing dead.
Yeah.
And you can see they close their eyes and hold everything in.
Yeah.
So it's just learning to sit with that safely. And sometimes even in a session, someone will reveal something, and I mean, I'm accessible, so if a cancellation comes up, they can have it. But I always set a program in between, even just for a month. Always set a
Yeah,
program
brilliant.
where there's containers where they can keep in touch with me,
Mm.
and I think we must do that. We have a duty to do that, a
Yeah.
duty of care.
Yeah.
Going back to your early beginnings, you mentioned your mum there.
Yeah.
And I said right at the beginning that you'd gone into the world of rugby and
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah.
So this whole yoga thing, which
Yeah.
was, did you say 16 years ago?
About that, yeah.
About that. You've got a whole life before that.
Oh, wow.
And essentially very different one as well.
Very different.
So you were just a young lad growing up.
I was raised. It's a generalization, this, because it's not all men, you know, and we shouldn't generalize the experience
No.
of all men because everyone's different. Some men could be raised in a polarized opposite way to what I was raised. But I grew up on a council estate in Wigan, and there was drugs on the estate, there was alcoholism on the estate, there was fights on the estate. My older brother was 12 years older than me. I love him to pieces now. There's zero activation in my body when I'm with him. But for 50 years, I just hated him.
Wow.
Because he's 12 years older than me. I've come into the world. He doesn't know what to do with a little baby. He didn't make life easy for me. I perceived that as bullying, whether it was or not. I became angry. I wanted to kick his head in. I remember going into a gym when I was 10, and I had an intention of kicking his head in when I was 16.
Wow.
My mum, I grew up in a rugby town, you know, dominated by sport and everything that comes with sport and the kudos, but also the dark side of teenage sports, you know, objectification of women. You know, women are not as superior as us. I downloaded all that growing up. Women weren't even friends of mine. They were just objects to admire and to chase. My mother didn't want me to get bullied at school, so I remember getting bullied once by a guy called Shane Kelly. Bless him, he's dead now. Much bigger than me. You know, my mum found out. She grabbed me by the hair. She said, "Hey, that's not going to happen again." She took me to his house. His dad was a big one. She knocked on the door. She said, "Right, get your Shane out here now," and she made us fight.
Wow.
So that was my mum trying to protect me.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's going to pick, because I was only small as a kid. Nobody's going to pick on you. And then I started playing rugby, and I was really good at rugby, so I got kudos for that, and I was cool. And at teenage years, that came with female conquests.
Yeah.
Something that went on for me in my teenage years, which maybe my mum unconsciously didn't know what she was doing, bless her. But my dad had an affair because my brother told me, I think I was about 7. My mum never let it go, even though they didn't separate. She held on to it. Her attention probably went to me. She devoted on me. And I remember in my teenage years, especially when I started going out around Wigan, around town, you know, when you're 16, 17. And I was really into my training then. I was trying to become a professional rugby player. And I remember standing in front of the mirror every Friday and Saturday night. And my mum used to always say to me, she used to say, "Wow, you look gorgeous. The girls are going to go crazy for you tonight." And then she'd say to me something along the lines of, "It's funny, but it's not. Craig, never settle down with a woman. Love them and leave them." From my own mother.
Wow.
Yeah. So what did I perceive that as? Fuck them and chuck them.
Yeah.
So that took me on a journey of, I was always in a long-term relationship, but I was never faithful because I didn't know how to be faithful.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were supposed to be faithful.
No, you got no modelling of that.
Exactly. And yeah, manipulation, lies. I didn't know at the time. I didn't realize that I'd spent a lifetime repressing my own non-linear feminine spontaneity.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I just thought this is what a man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know there's a whole other part of me.
Yeah.
Like even 17 years ago, if you'd have asked me to do that and to move in non-linear ways and to spiral, and I would have my nervous system would have gone,
Yeah.
I would have froze completely. So fast forward, so yoga arguably is also a masculine practice, but it gets you into your body and it gets you into feelings. It's linear, but it really got me into my feelings, and I started to realize And over the past 15 years, it's been the essence of my evolution, right? I started to realize that number one, I disrespected women in a big way, and I wasn't proud of it. I was actually ashamed of it. I couldn't believe it. Number two, I haven't been faithful. Number three, I look back at my life. I'd never made love to a woman without being pissed or initiated it. And I was like, what the fuck?
You'd never without being pissed?
No, not when I was younger.
Wow.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, whoever downloaded this from? And I just went on a crazy journey of self-discovery then. I was like desperate to reclaim what I suppressed, and I was desperate to fulfill my potential and just become a better man.
Yeah.
So I became a yoga teacher, became a meditation teacher. I studied somatic counseling for a while. I became a life coach, became a shadow work practitioner. I did all sorts. I meditated in the dark for 10 days. I fasted on water for 21 days. I did a ton of silent meditation retreats. I drank ayahuasca. I drank other plant medicines. I took mushrooms.
You did it all.
I studied tantra a lot, but with partners, with my wife for a while, and then with my ex-partner, which opened me up to the realm of connecting with all and being in relationship with all of life. And I did a lot of other stuff as well, but what kept coming back to me was my relationship with women.
Yeah.
You know, women here and the woman here.
Yeah.
Especially with ayahuasca, because when I drank ayahuasca for the second time, my wife at the time, Marta, she decided not to do the ceremony. We were in Peru doing a yoga retreat, and it had ayahuasca every weekend. It was a bit intense. But on the second one, sounds a bit funky, this, but I became her.
Yeah.
And I embodied what it was to be in her body as a woman who could embrace all the feelings of a woman. And I experienced what it was like to have a female orgasm.
Wow. Welcome to.
And so after it, I was like, oh my God, like, you are the goddess. Oh my, like, and there's been a series of episodes that I've come out of some kind of ceremony or retreat and thought, wow, why have I never respected women?
Yeah.
And I'm at a beautiful stage now. I mean, I'm not in a relationship because my relationship came to the end of a cycle about 15 years ago. And I've been working on myself an awful lot.
Yes.
Purposely, not even going on a date for 15 months.
Wow. That's incredible, really.
And I can't believe I've done it. I should have done it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But what I realized more than ever before is I would never let a woman lead me in any way. I was just rebelling against my mum unconsciously.
Yeah.
Never. But now it just fascinates me. On my retreat in Peru, we had a woman leading our first ceremony, which was an offering to the land. Every man cried his eyes out when he shared. We had a woman leading the sweat lodge. Every man was so respectful. I've done sweat lodges before with men leading, and the men laugh and they joke and they fuck around. And these men were totally respectful. I went to a concert the other night with a friend of mine who's a singer. It was a birthday, and she guided us through a journey of her own songs, and I just couldn't stop crying. I was just in awe of this woman. So, finally, I'm at a place where I can not surrender, but I can allow a woman to lead me. You know, obviously I'll step into leadership as well, but I don't know. I'm in, without sounding like a saint, like I'm finally at the age of 53 in awe of women, but in awe of that capacity in me as well. But that's been a journey.
I mean, and the reason I kind of reference the early years is because it's easy to listen to someone talk about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But when you don't know their history and where they've been, and the guys that you've worked with as well, the sort of tough, the archetypal tough guy in rugby and football.
Yeah, I was a cocky teenage manipulator.
Yeah.
Cocky.
Yeah.
You know, really cocky, and I had a soft side, but I'd never show it.
And when you were doing that, so I've got a soft side, but I'd never show it. Where would that come out? Would it ever come out? Would you ever have moments on your own?
That's a brilliant question. No, not really.
So you just you had an awareness of it, but not a release for it.
No, because the suit of armor.
Yeah.
Like I was really muscular when I was about 16, 17, 18. Like 19, I was really muscular,
Yeah.
and it's just armor, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that question that brings to mind another question, because it's about the soft side. You've got the armor on. Would you say that men build muscle for other men to see, or to attract women primarily?
I did it to attract women
Yeah.
because I downloaded a narrative that in order to attract women, you need to be good at sport
Mm.
and you need to be muscular.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of men do it because they think it's what women like,
Right.
but unconsciously, a lot of men also do it because they're so insecure
Yes.
that it gives them a sense of don't fuck with me,
Yes.
don't come near me,
Yeah.
I'll get so muscular, don't come near my feelings.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Like
not every man,
no.
because I'm sure there are some men around that, even young boys, not a lot, but who genuinely love going to the gym.
Yeah.
But as a young teenage boy, a lot of them don't love going to the gym. They just pretend they do.
Just to be
They're just
attractive.
getting buffed up.
Yeah. Because I often wonder that, when you see the really super muscular men, who is it for?
Yeah,
Especially if they're married with kids now.
yeah.
And then I wonder if it gives them that sense of, I am the alpha. Although I think the alpha's the wrong term, because alpha doesn't actually mean, what does alpha mean?
I mean, I think alpha in the animal world is sometimes an archetypal expression to protect your family.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's no reason why it can't be that in the world today.
Mm.
You know, if I'm with you, we've got 4 kids and we're getting burgled, I might have to step into the alpha.
Yes.
But the shadow of the alpha is
Yeah.
the tyranny.
Yeah.
You know, it's the tyranny. It's the weakling prince. It's the bulldozer. It's the bully. That's
That's why a
the
lot of people,
shadow
the
of it.
people don't want to be called alpha, because they don't want to be associated with that shadow version.
Exactly.
Yeah. What would you say about boys at the minute? Because we talk about boys going to the gym to prep
Yeah.
themselves for life with women and, building that sense of attractiveness. But we've also got a situation where Pornhub is accessible to all teenage boys, especially if they've got older brothers. God knows what they're saying. What are your thoughts about the social media and particularly
Yeah.
porn for boys at the minute?
I remember. I don't know if you saw it. I saw a clip with Gabo Mate yesterday, and he was saying that somebody asked him, "How would you be with your kids if you had a baby now?"
Mm.
And he said he would. He said it would be hard, but he wouldn't let them near any screen
Mm.
until they were at least in the teenage
Yeah, I
years.
think that's so right.
You know,
Yeah.
so obviously someone like him, one of the pivotal figures of
Yeah.
you know trauma therapy right now in
Yeah.
the world, saying that we've
Yeah.
got to listen.
We've got to listen. Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's just a vast topic, isn't it? You know,
Mm.
and there's so many stats coming through now that boys are dropping out of school, suicide's not decreasing, boys are not doing well in exams, um, girls are getting more opportunities at interviews for jobs in the younger years, and boys are more likely to stay in the room depressed, and the stats are there.
Yeah.
So it's a vast topic to talk about. I feel sorry for teenage boys right now
Me
because,
too.
I mean, I sometimes see it, but I've got enough awareness
Yeah.
to not follow it up right now. I'm 53. I'm
Yeah.
not 12,
Yeah.
But if I'm a 13-year-old boy and I open TikTok or I open Instagram
Mm.
and I see a young girl of 17, 18
Mm.
in knickers and bra
Mm.
who's
Mm.
winking at me, I'm drawn in.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
my testosterone's spiking.
Mm.
I'm drawn in. Instagram realised that. Every time I open my phone on the grid, there's just women everywhere, and I'm drawn in, and I'm drawn in, and I'm drawn, and it helps me to release
Yeah.
every single day. It's so much worse than when I was a teenager. You might find a case catalogue in the forest.
If you were very lucky, I always say this,
You
bin
know.
day, you'd get the mucky man up the road, you'd see his magazine end up on the floor.
Oh man, I mean, it's so much. It was bad when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a porn addiction in my life,
Yeah.
but wow, what chance have these young lads got
Well,
these days?
they don't. They simply don't have a. Think about what you've just said about the grid. The minute you like or engage with, I don't know how many seconds it takes for Instagram and TikTok to realize you've engaged with watching that video.
Mm.
You said there, the next time you look, there'll be a grid full of these women.
Full.
So within seconds, the algorithm is preparing itself to bombard you with more,
Mm.
more, more. And you mentioned earlier, boys are in their rooms depressed because they don't have to leave to have that release.
Of course.
They've got no motivation. So we're going to see, I think, the collapse of masculinity if we're not careful, because that you can't be a man in your bedroom looking at a grid of women that are winking at you. And now you can actually program. So say you've got a favorite girl on OnlyFans or Pornhub. There are AI models now where you can program that model to basically tell that girl that you like what to do.
I know.
So you could say, make her do a blowjob.
Of course.
And so now they don't even need to have a conversation with a woman. They don't need to have physical touch, and you can buy all sorts of toys. So we'll see the collapse of masculinity, I think. And there's not much we can do as an individual about that except have these conversations. And, hopefully some parents will listen and go, oh my gosh, my boy, he does sit in his room a lot.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't have a boy, I've got a young girl, but I'm quite happy to have open conversations with any kids actually about this. And I think, very, very brief story, when I was, when my daughter was at nursery, the nursery asked if I'd take my dog in at the time just to sort of talk about animals and dogs. And one of the kids asked questions about how dogs have puppies. So I started to say in a very babyfied version, and I remember the key worker at the nursery going, oh, no, you can't say that. I remember thinking, why? Like, they've just asked a question that, I mean, there'd be 3 or 4. They've got the curiosity to ask. I'm not going to say anything overtly, intense here, but just to give them an idea about birds and the bees. And they stopped it. And I think the sex education they get at school now is not actually about relating to each other and love and making love. And it's all about, well, it's become a political agenda, I think. So we're seeing political agenda overriding relationships and love and connection. At the same time, boys are in their bedrooms asking AI to do this thing with this girl that they like.
Yeah.
That is devastating.
And is it only boys?
Well, no, it'll be girls as well.
And is it only teenage boys?
No, it's not. It's
19-year-old men, 20-year-old men, 30-year-old men.
Yeah. Because everything's quick, easy. And it's not about time connection.
So the screens is obviously an issue.
Yeah.
Can the government do anything around legislation of screens? I don't know. Somebody's got to look into that.
Somebody has. It needs to be woven in.
The other aspect that needs to be weaved into early years in school is nature.
Yes, you're right. That's so important.
And a lot of it.
Yeah.
At least once a week for a full day in nature.
Yeah.
We're so disconnected from nature.
I mean, I'd say half a day every day.
Me too.
Yeah. Honestly, because I think, if we look at phones and the technology as a positive, you don't really need to understand algebra anymore. You've got everything that you need from a mathematical perspective online. Everything's set up online for, I mean, not that you get taught how to do taxes at school, but everything's there.
Yeah.
So actually, going back to living and life and connection with nature, with people, that would change. Within 10 years, you'd see a huge shift
100%.
in the frequency.
I mean, the government should even be building schools in forests.
Yes, they should, yeah.
Or next to the ocean.
Yeah.
Or next to the lake, in the hills.
Yeah.
Really. It's an obvious thing to say, but it's probably the most important thing to say.
Well, it's the
simplistic We've got to
things.
return to nature.
We have, yeah. We have.
And the other one in schools is relational skills.
Yeah.
Imagine with 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids that you had to do a module on emotions, and each emotion was a superhero.
Yeah.
And and one day you embodied sadness and the wisdom of sadness and how sadness leads to relief and a greater expansion of love, and it wasn't an imposter, and how kids could learn to express their anger but feel good about it and stay grounded and connected.
Yes.
Imagine that.
Because anger is important, and I'm glad you mentioned anger again. People talk about men being angry, but what they don't realise is it's an expression.
Yeah.
And because they can't express that shame or that vulnerability, and they've taken some sort of blame for your tears or The anger just comes out as a communication
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
So we do need to teach people how to stay grounded in anger and
For
how
sure.
to communicate anger on another way, in
Yeah.
another way.
One of my mentors, I don't know if you've heard of him, he's probably about 78 now, a guy called Dr. Robert Masters.
I don't know him.
He's been a therapist for, I don't know, 40, 50 years.
Wow.
And he's written a lot of books about men.
Mm.
He's written a great book called Emotional Intimacy. He's written a great book about spiritual bypassing. I've done some professional training with him online, and his work around anger is beautiful.
Yeah.
Around bringing it online, but staying grounded and falling in love with it. And he talks about when you're communicating what you're angry about, trying to somehow embody the marriage of anger and love,
I think that's
you know,
beautiful. Yeah.
and really stay connected with it.
Mm.
Because when we're frightened of anger,
Mm.
we either go on the attack
Yes.
or we say fuck you and we check out.
Yeah.
So both of those responses to anger are fear driven,
Yeah.
disconnection. But if we learn through somatic practice
Yeah.
to stay grounded, like there's a big difference between me saying to you, oh Ella, you always say that, fuck off, versus Ella, I'm connected, I'm penetrative. When you just said that, God, it makes me feel angry.
Yeah.
Please don't do that anymore. It's a difference, isn't there?
There is, hugely.
But we're not taught that, are we?
No.
We've got to go on retreats and study and to find it all out. And
It's so powerful though. And also I think one of the things I corrected myself earlier is we go, you made me feel.
oh,
And actually that's so dangerous
yeah,
because you're not taking any
yeah,
accountability for what's within.
yeah,
And I always try to say to people, especially if I'm working with a couple, just stop there, go back to I feel.
yeah,
I realise it's not your intention,
yeah,
but I need to express this.
yeah,
That's such a powerful way of
yeah,
allowing that person to hear you. And if they can't hear you after that, I'm not saying there's no accountability, but if you've tried that a few times with your partner or your mother or whatever, and they're still not available,
yeah,
then you have to learn where the control ends. You
yeah,
can't control somebody else's experience.
of course.
And it's knowing when to step back without, because a lot of people are quite toxic in the sense that I'm cutting you off, I'm blocking you
Mm,
now.
mm,
Just step back and say, there's a time and a space here where we can process things differently.
yeah,
Let's just give each other the time. It doesn't need to, I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for the end, but
mm-hmm,
it doesn't
mm-hmm.
always need to be this sharp ending that people
No,
think it
not at
does.
all. The classic one is you let me down.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
mum always let me down. My dad always let me down. Even as a parent, he always lets me down. Nobody lets you down.
No.
People are just the way they are,
Well,
right?
everyone's just doing it for the first time on this level.
Yeah,
Which you've mentioned ancestral stuff. So I just kind of want to
yeah,
come to that point before we finish. Because I think for a lot of people that hear that stuff that have not looked into it, and you talk about downloading a lot, and I truly believe that. In
mm,
fact, I think the frequencies are so much more important than what we think we know. And we all know that deja vu feeling, or, there's things that seem impossible. When you meet someone and you feel like you've known them for 1,000
yeah,
years,
yeah, yeah,
those
yeah,
just those loops of energy.
yeah.
What's your thinking there? Because I think some people have got a capacity to tap into that more easily, for whatever reason. I don't know what that is. Maybe you do. But also that ability to say, I can forgive my parents or I can forgive my siblings because perhaps this is stuff they're carrying from years and
Mm,
years before. And
mm,
their journey here is to work that out.
mm,
My journey is to, because I think when you're holding on to something, your journey is about
mm,
letting go.
mm,
Um, and perhaps when you let go too much, your journey is about leaning in, maybe. So,
mm.
what are your thoughts on all of that in terms of ancestral lineage and frequency and energy?
I think forgiveness or acceptance, whatever word we give it,
Mm.
is definitely in the men that I work with. Like, for a man to be comfortable in his own skin and to feel in the world, connected to the world, in relationship with the world, present, not stuck in the past, acceptance, forgiveness, it has to happen.
Yeah.
There might be a time when he's not ready. I don't fucking forgive him. He can fuck off, whatever. But if there's no forgiveness or acceptance of what that person did and what they may have downloaded that led to the act of neglect or abuse or violence or whatever it was, there's no transformation. So it has to happen. It just has to happen. So doing the ancestral work to go back and assess. I'm coming onto something here actually. If it was my mum that let me down, what was her mum like and what was her mum like?
Right.
But the thing is, Ella, what I've realised, especially on the retreat that I just did, I can sit with a man and say, bro, enough's enough. You've got to forgive your mum. Let's talk about it. What was she like? What was her mum like? What do you think it would have been like when your mum was a girl? But if it's a cognitive dialogue, nothing changes. But we just did it. So one of our days we do 5-day retreat in Peru, and then we do the 4-day Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. And on day one's about safety and offering to the land, and just starting the journey inwards with somatic practices. Day 2 is about the father and the child. Day 3 is the mother and the child. And in one of our sessions that I led, actually, we start with the man lied in the fetal position. And somehow, when a man is lied into that fetal position and he is experiencing what it's like to be in the womb of his mother, and I'm firing deep contemplative questions. It's day 3, he's in his body, he's not had his phone for 3 days, he's not in the story of his head, he doesn't want to go home, he's right in it. Insights come.
Yes, you're right.
And then as we start to go in now, I want you to imagine what it was like to be a mum before you were born. What it was like to be a mum as a little girl. What she carried, what she downloaded, her struggles, neglect. What was her father like? What was her mother like? All of a sudden, they can't get it cognitively, but the body just has a sense of feeling what that could have been like.
I couldn't agree more. You can't, again, the talking bit can only take you so far.
Hence, the day up, 2 days later in a sweat lodge, the guy says,
yes,
Mom, I'm sorry, I forgive you.
Yeah, because it's all
now
processed.
He's embodying that. It's not just words. He's talking to his mum. They're having a dialogue. But it wouldn't have come if I hadn't have done that embodied journey into the past.
I couldn't agree more. Because you're following a cellular mapping again. It goes back to the way that the nervous system is cellularly mapped and it knows what it's doing. So when you use embodiment and when you use those deeper subconscious tools, be it EMDR or hypnotherapy or, they all have such a powerful place. Talking, we're only using such a tiny part of our brain when we're doing the cognitive work.
Of course.
And of course, that brain body system, 95%, it's brain body. People always think of subconscious as just the mind, but it's the mind body.
For sure.
So I think embodiment's so powerful.
It's all our body, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all our
there's
subconscious
no separation.
mind.
Yeah. There's no separation. And I think we love to do that, don't we? Separate everything off to make it simple in medical terms.
Yeah.
But actually, as a human, there's only one.
And also, again, just to touch on my work, I like to take guys on an adventure. Sometimes I don't even call myself. I don't call myself a coach. I don't call myself a therapist. Sometimes I'm just a guy who takes guys on an adventure.
Yeah.
Because if I've got a guy coming to see me on a Tuesday afternoon and he's had a shit day at work and he's running stuff in his head, and I'm never going to get him deeply into his body.
No.
So that's why I like to do events where I helicopter guys out of the normal environment.
Yes.
The normal environment where they wake up and they have the same thoughts and the same feelings every day.
Yeah.
I like to. It's tricky because it's not easy to fill my places.
Yeah, I bet.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's something incredibly empowering for the man when he gifts himself 5 days with me without his phone.
Yes.
Or because on my programs there's no telephones.
Yeah, which I think is the best thing.
Or 10 days in Peru in a totally different environment, where it can reprogram. Because because he's not in the same spaces where the same thoughts and feelings just automatically happen.
Yeah.
He can reprogram something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nature's incredibly important for my work as well.
Yeah.
Even in my one-on-ones, I walk and I talk with guys in the hills where I live in Yorkshire, you know?
I mean, you've got a beautiful environment to do that in,
Yeah.
which really helps.
It does.
But I think you've placed yourself where you've needed to be able to be the best guy to hold the space for others. I kind of like that as a title, actually. I'm just a guy, because it kind of really says it all. That power thing where people put you on a pedestal, that can sometimes be a barrier, can't it?
For sure.
So I'm just a guy which is true.
Yeah.
You're just here with an insight that you can offer and pay forward.
Yeah.
So to finish up, where can people find you? I mean, I know you mentioned it earlier, but tell me again.
People can find me on my website, craigwhitementoring.com. I have a YouTube. I have a podcast, Craig White Dare to Be Different. That's also the YouTube channel. Instagram, Craig White Mentoring. You can find me on LinkedIn, Craig White. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's all of the bases covered.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me talk to you. Actually, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
It's been you've said things that have been said in a way, actually, I can feel the love behind it and I can feel the experience behind it. And I don't just mean your personal and professional experience. I just mean something bigger than that as well, like an energy.
Yeah.
And I hope that comes across when people listen, because it's been quite important, I think. And it will be very important to continue having those conversations.
Yeah.
But like you said before, and I want to finish on this note, you can't just listen to a podcast and do a workshop online. You've got to have these in-person, real-life experiences to really feel the shift.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are looking for those quick hits of information. And actually what you do is it's a good place to start, but come and have the experience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it as well.
Oh, bless you. That's really, really lovely.
Thank you.